Today we're going to talk about Costa to Wolves, which I think is going to be a phenomenal signing. He's made for the Premier League, he's a beast, he's a fighter, and we know he can finish. So let's have a look. Diego Costa to Wolves, ageing forward is past his best, but Bruno Lage's team are desperate for a penalty box striker, and he's perfect. He is perfect. I think it's a wonderful signing. With Wolves looking to bring in former Chelsea favourite Diego Costa back to the Premier League, would this be a golden finale to his career, or is it too late for him to make a difference at a club desperate for goals? I don't think so, because if you can get the ball to him, he can still bully defenders and he can still score. Injury to Wolves striker, I'm not even going to attempt to say that, at Southampton has set off a chain of events that has led us here. The prospective return of Diego Costa, not everyone is convinced that any move will work, but most feel compelled to keep their eyes on it to find out. I think he's going to do great. Calling it now, there's people saying he won't, he's past it. I just think he's got the attributes though. For 3 years, Costa was a snarling presence in the Premier League. His goals had taken Atletico Madrid to the title, and he repeated defeat with Chelsea twice. Opposition fans hated him. They did. They really did. Opposition players hated him. Everybody wanted him on their team. So that's how you know that's just hate him. There are a lot of good reasons why Costa is not the answer to Wolves' problems. Reasons presumably that persuaded the club to pay upwards of 50 million to bring someone else just a few days earlier, rather than turn to the outer contract forward then. So they got him on a free transfer. If that's right, then that's even better for them. Costa has not played professional football in 2022. Okay, I didn't know that. That's not great. He will be expected to play off memory, but those memories are still fresh in England. This is a player last seen on a Premier League pitch celebrating his role in what remains Chelsea's most recent title win. Yeah, and he was a bully, and everyone did hate him, but they hated him because of how good he was. Indeed, Costa was the man who helped Chelsea to each of their last 2 Premier League titles. He scored 20 goals in both campaigns, firstly under Mourinho and then Conte. The striker has been a problem position at Stamford Bridge. Costa made it his own. Yeah, the amount of flop strikers is just unbelievable. But he weren't one of them. I'm trying to think, he's probably our last decent striker. Let me know down below. He's got a bit. Who else is there in the last 10 years, to be honest? Like, when I think of the last decent Chelsea striker, other than I can only think of Drogba. Who else? Everyone else stank. But since then, goals have been harder to come by. He's not hit double figures in the league since. Oh, okay. The edge is still there in his mind, perhaps not in his aging body, and yet Madrid won trophies with him. And the team he played for in Brazil did the double. Wolves would welcome that winning mentality. It is a squad that has been shorn of senior figures, and abrasive personality on the pitch might be useful. Off it, there will be hope and expectation that as a native Portuguese speaker, he could adapt quickly. Which is certain is that Wolves need some help. What is certain? Yeah, well, I don't know why. Like, Wolves have been Portuguese hub. I know with Nuno's Santos. The defence has been good. No team in the Premier League has conceded so few goals this season, but no team has scored fewer goals either. That's a difficult one, isn't it? But it's good signs for them. If your defence has been good, and if he does work some magic, it could be a nice little turnaround for them. This is a continuation of a theme at the Molineux. Wolves were the team whose games featured the fewest goals last season too. They are not short of mobile forwards in Podence, Neto and Hee-Chan. Speaking to Lage recently, he said Daniel was one of the best guys to link the play between the lines. Neto is more aggressive in space. Huang, if that's how you say it, is very good on diagonals. He might have added that Traore is just one of the quickest players in the Premier League. He is. But didn't he sell him to Barcelona? A new signing, Guedes. is a wide forward of real quality, but what none of these players have been able to bring to the Wolves team is goals. Yeah. Podence has scored twice this season, matching his total of 26 Premier League games last season, but Neto now has only one goal in the last 26. Traore is 1 in 27, and now departed Connor Cody scored as many of those three put together last season. Jesus, they can't get goals for love nor money, can they? Podence's slightly fortuitous finish aside, there's little sign that is changing. Both he and Jimenez squandered clear-cut chances in a goalless draw at Bournemouth. Guedes is without a goal in his first 6 games. Juan is out of form, bereft of confidence. All of which should be taken into account regarding Costa. He lacks mobility, and that is less of an issue when there is movement around him. He is just a head on a stick inside a penalty box, then perhaps that is no bad thing when it is yeah, exactly. If you've got people who make runs, make space, like I said, just get the ball to him. He'll be able to hold off a defender. And I know he can shoot. Largue is a functioning team in 2/3 of the pitch. That was evident at Tottenham when Neves, Moutinho and Nunes controlled the game in midfield. Wolves had more of the ball until Harry Kane headed in the winner from close range. The beast that is Kane. It felt like a game that would have ended differently had Wolves had anyone to head in their own crosses, which is something Costa can do. Largue must have seen in the same way when approving the signing of both 2 metre tall Austrian. How tall is that in 2 metres? What's that, 6'5", 6'6"? The 5'88" that were attempted last season was the third fewest of any Premier League team. The 5 was that shots? Don't even know. And far fewer than in any 3 previous seasons under Santos earlier. But perhaps that was part due to the players available. Jimenez was a real threat with his head. In the 1920 Premier League season, no player scored more headed goals than the Mexican, but his fractured skull understandably changed things, yeah. That would, wouldn't it? A fractured skull. If that ain't going to change your heading ability, I don't know what will. From my point of view, the band does not give him the same power and direction with the ball. That is a big change. We cannot forget that. Sometimes he touches the ball and the ball goes in a different direction. Is it a confidence thing? Does he just not? He just doesn't feel like he can commit to it anymore. Largue added, "We know Raul scored a lot of goals from heading. It is time to adapt to a new reality." Not going to try to say his name again. Was supposed to be the start of the new reality. Costa might be more of a plan B brought on to change games, but it is a change nevertheless. Would it work? That depends on Costa's fitness level and appetite. We know he's got the appetite. I think he's one of those players that he only puts 100% in, and that's why I think he's going to be a great signing. But it also depends on Wolves. Right now they have evolved so far away from a team that accommodates this type of striker that it would be an adjustment for everybody to utilise him effectively. I'm not sure. Because I think if you just create the chances. Wolves has had the lowest percentage of shots from inside the penalty box of any Premier League team this season. The ball goes wide and it is recycled back into midfield, where typically the attack will end for better or worse with a long range shot from Neves. Or by the sounds of it, it's for worse because they're not scoring goals. And who wants to do that anyways? You know what I mean? You work your way into an attacking position and then you just pass it back and then it fades away. There's nothing more frustrating. Costa needs that ball to go into the box much more often. More than 85% of the shots that he's taken during his Premier League career have come from inside the box, a higher percentage than any of the most prolific shooters in the league at that time. Percentage of shots from inside the box. Yeah, it's a lot. The key question now is whether these stats indicate how desperate Wolves are for a penalty box presence or how ill-suited their style of play is to that presence. But you just change that then. Like, those numbers speak for themselves, 85% of shots, so you just get that ball in. Just get that ball in, and I reckon he will 100% score goals. Supporters have noted that Jota has thrived at Liverpool. They see Silva, who failed to find the net in 26 appearances last season, already scored 6 on loan at Anderlecht, more than Wolves had managed as a team since he left. Oh, that's poor. That is poor. But it is Anderlecht at the same time. Not taking the piss, but it's the Belgian league. You can't even... I hate comparisons like that, I really do. Jimenez was regarded as one of the most complete strikers in the Premier League, but has 6 goals in his last 37 appearances. Calla, I'm just going to call him Calla, completed only 2 passes, both inside his half, in that debut against Southampton. Yeah, non-existent then. Might as well not be there. Would Costa look an isolated figure too, or could he be the man to make the sense of the Wolves' work, creative players? That lofted Traore cross that had some screaming about a lack of end product looks different when headed home. That Neto cut back to. Not everyone is convinced, but it'd be fascinating to find out. I think it is a fascinating signing. I think he will do wonders. What sort of map is this? That is the most ridiculous map. Man, I feel like I have to be Stephen Hawking to bloody interpret what that's supposed to mean. Jesus Christ. Wolves crosses less under Lag last season. I say you just got to change your style of play. But yeah, thank you for watching. Leave a like and subscribe, and let me know what you think, because I think he's going to do really well. Obviously it all depends, but if you bring him in, you know surely you've got to adapt. But I think he's going to smash it, but let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Have a